Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. And Aquarius, this is your weekly intuitive tarot reading for February 3rd to the 9th. Your cards this week, Aquarius, we have the Inner Temple Oracle card. We have the Eight of Swords, we have the Devil, the Wheel of Fortune, the Hanged Man, the Ten of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. So Aquarius, half the spread is Major Arcana and powerful Major Arcana at that. So for those of you that this reading relates to, I think, there's no doubt that there is a situation playing out and it's fairly significant in your life. We can see some kind of toxicity here, and it is divine timing for you to release that now, to come into a greater place of a balance mentally and emotionally, and to start to get that insight on how to move forward with your life in a positive direction. So I'm just going to start by reading that Oracle card, Inner Temple. Devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. You're being called to be a devoted student and tune into your heart, to incorporate true devotion into your life. You could be called to develop a regular meditation, journaling or chanting practice, or to show up to your soul with rhythm, to develop a daily practice where you fill up your well and spend time with your soul. All the answers to all of the questions that you seek are waiting for you in the portal of your heart, but you cannot hear them unless you carve out the time each time to listen. Your soul is yearning for a deeper relationship with you, and so the more time you spend with it and show up to it, the more clearly it will guide you. Well, Aquarius, you most definitely cannot tune into the portal of your heart and make clear intuitive decisions for your life and move forward if you're in Eight of Swords reality. You see, this person here is actually bound around all of the intuitive centers, the third eye, the heart, and the stomach or gut, which is, it has been proven that the heart has more electrical impulses than the brain. And, the gut, I'm not sure where that fits in, but that is also, another brain center for us. So, if somebody is, shut down in a way, or being controlled, or in some kind of negative thinking pattern, victim mentality, anxiety, depression, that kind of thing, we often lose the connection with our heart. And that can also be said to, lose the connection with our higher self. And our higher self is what guides us. It's our inner wisdom. So here we see you in the recent past, in a position where you can't access that wisdom because there is a sense of being bound by something, somebody, or a situation. Now, swords energy, so often this is the demons of the mind, our own swords, our own anxieties, the negative thoughts that are holding us back. But you can see here there is a clear path forward for this person here. However, they don't see it again because they are, blinded by a situation. They are bound. They are being held by their own, they're a prison of their own mind, basically. Now, what could be holding somebody prison? Well, I feel that this guy is responsible. And the devil, guys, it can really indicate lots of different things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an external party or another person. It can be our inner demons. It can be, the unresolved issues of the past. It can be our own self-limiting thoughts and negativity. It can be addictions, food addictions, alcohol, drugs, love addictions, repeating cycles that we know don't serve us. And it can be, it can be external forces. It can be people that are manipulating us, be it in the workplace or in love. Can be codependency in a relationship, could be a toxic friendship. It's that kind of energy that, over time, it kind of depletes us. It sucks our life force, and that's why we see the devil with these wings of the bat. And it's just not sustainable, Aquarius. It's not sustainable over time. Now you can see the lovers here that are bound by chains to the devil. And again, we see this theme of they could release these chains, they're loose enough to get over their necks, but they are staying voluntarily, kind of a bit like the Eight of Swords. So the question to ask yourself is, what is the payoff for the cost of staying in the situation? Are you keeping yourself small and stuck in limited thought patterns because, fear of change is greater, fear of the unknown, because that's what you've always known. Or, are you staying in a codependent relationship because financially, it works for you and it's going to be really tough if you leave. So, you take the low level pain over a long period of time that's really unsustainable, rather than ripping off that band-aid and going through what might be, some deep hurts. But then as soon as we do that, they start healing. So ask yourself, what is the payoff? Why are you staying in this situation? And we have to remember that sometimes a very temporary, deeper hurt and pain of release is actually easier than a low-level, unsustainable pain of staying in a situation that's toxic for us, that can deplete our immune system, that can put us in fight or flight, that slowly erodes our sense of self, and that can lead to depression and anxiety, or self-esteem, self-confidence issues. That does a lot more permanent damage. So with the devil energy, it's better to release quickly. That's really what I'm sensing with this card, because the universe does say, with the Wheel of Fortune and the Ten of Swords, that it is divine timing now to release that situation. So for some of you, I believe this could have been a karmic contract. Some of you may be dealing with a karmic partner where that has played out now and it's time to release it. Could have been a karmic contract for you to learn a life lesson, whether there was someone else involved or not. Some of you might have had to go through a tough time, even a tough time internally with yourself, to emerge out the other side stronger, to ensure that you won't fall into that same trap again. But the Ten of Swords does indicate a painful ending, and that can be because we've stayed in it for too long, or just because, it's time to rip that band-aid off quickly, and it can be painful. But the Ten of Swords usually has that energy of being a bit beaten down by the situation, a bit downtrodden, a lot like that Eight of Swords energy. Again, it can talk of somebody who may have actually become sick in this situation through fatigue, through illness, or again, the diseases of the mind, whether that's just feeling a little bit negative and losing your motivation, or whether that is, right through to the scale of anxiety and depression, because there are levels and scales with these cards. But either way, there is a great promise with the Ten of Swords, and that promise is that bright new dawn, a new day that's ready to eclipse that darkness. It's just, that decision is up to you, Aquarius, when you release, and the universe really is saying that the time is now. The Wheel of Fortune is the card of destiny. It is also the card of karma. So again, we see that link to the fact that it was likely a karmic contract, and it has come to an end, and now it is time for the wheel to turn, and it's turning in another direction. And we see that next to the Six of Pentacles, which is about re-establishing balance in your life. So the Wheel of Fortune is saying it's time for you to even up the score. You've gone without, or you've been taken advantage of, or you've been feeling like the underdog for a certain period of time, and now it is time to shine. It is your time to experience good fortune and good luck. The Wheel of Fortune is said to have a 10-year energy. We're also next to a 10 here. I feel for some of you, the situation that you're releasing could have been something that you were involved in for the majority of the last decade. Now the Wheel of Fortune is coming in and saying, release this and set yourself up for a completely new decade. So the decisions that you make now is likely to impact your whole next chapter, be it the next sort of 5 to 10 years even. That's what I'm seeing with the Wheel of Fortune here. Yes, there is the element of, divine timing. It's the universe saying, well, the time is now. Things are lining up for you. And it is the right time to end it now. And maybe in the past, even though, you were in that devil energy and a bit trapped in it, it may not have been the right time to bring it to an end, because there may have been some more karma to play out, to release, or some of you may not have yet fully accepted that life lesson, but it looks like you have now. And I really feel that by releasing the situation, Aquarius, you are going to be moving into a place of greater balance. These are the scales of life. You know, and they say that the universal balance sheet must always add up. So if you have had a hard run in the last decade, it is now time for that score to be even. And the Six of Pentacles is also about, you know, coming into a time that's more greatly abundant on a material level. There could have been money problems or a debt situation in, you know, in the past, and now it's time for you to get on top of that, to build your resources, to build your worldly tangible resources again. The Six of Pentacles talks about now being able to be open to receive. And, you know, when we do tune into the portal of the heart and start opening that space, that's when we often can receive as well as give. You know, some of you could have been in a situation where you were an overgiver or the person that had to give. And, you know, now it's time for you to find a situation where it's more even footing, even relationships, even workload at work, whatever the situation relates to for you. You know, I always see this as sort of that switch from being the beggar of life to being the person who has the resources to give. And I'm not just talking monetary, I'm talking time and energy and actually, you know, compassion and empathy, feeling in a good place to be able to do that. Well, first of all, you know, we do have this Hanged Man here. So there could be a period between, you know, the Ten of Swords and getting to this really good balanced even place where you might be waiting for some knowledge of how to move forward. Some of you might feel like you're a little bit in the space in between, maybe a little bit stagnant. I wouldn't say stuck. I think this is stuck, Eight of Swords. This is the space in between where it's like, okay, I'm either getting ready to release or I have released this person, ended the relationship, left the job, had the hard conversation with a friend, whatever it is, and now I'm not quite sure sort of where to go from here. Well, you know, this Hanged Man hangs from that tree of knowledge, and he's just waiting, he's gathering the information, he's reflecting, he's using hindsight and joining the dots, he's trying to understand the situation, and there will come that aha moment where the light bulb goes on and, you know, you'll see things for what they are, and you'll also gain the insight of how to move forward. With the Hanged Man, they also talk about, you know, surrendering and dying the death of the Hanged Man, which is going through that grief process of, you know, first of all, you know, some of you might have been in denial that you were in a devil situation or being manipulated or had your own inner demons, whatever it was for you, to then, you know, bartering to try and keep the situation. Often then that's when the depression or sadness, the mental prison can set in until, you know, we reach a point where we accept. And acceptance can be the key. Accept that you spent a period of your life in this situation. It may not have been, you know, fully right for you. You might have stayed in it too long, but you have reached the other side. You've reached that point where you either have taken action or you're about to take action, and you need to, you know, commend yourself for it. Yeah, so the Hanged Man is all about reaching that place of acceptance and accepting that, you know, this was, you know, this is what happened, this is what played out, but now, you know, you're listening to the universal signs and you're allowing in that Wheel of Fortune, you're allowing those, you know, the stars that are lined up, you're using the energetic force of that to say, okay, well, you know what, it is time for me to close this chapter and, you know, bring myself into a greater sense of balance. And from that place, that is when life really opens up. That's when the opportunities come in. That's when the things like the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups come in. So I think if you take the action in the situation, Aquarius, expect to see those cards come up in your near future. And, you know, sometimes it all starts with tuning into that inner temple, tuning into those intuitive centers and really asking yourself clearly, what do you desire for your life? And anything that's not aligned with that and doesn't fit, it's time to let it go. Okay, Aquarius, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I do wish you all the best with it this week. Keep in mind it is a general reading. It may not resonate with every one of you guys. Feel free to leave me a comment because I'm always interested to see if it resonates and to know how it's playing out in your daily life. And I'll see you back here next week with another reading.